and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Been getting a lot of questions around the awakening, the symptoms of awakening. A lot of people are feeling the confirmation of what I shared, and of even what people have shared in their comments. And people are asking, okay, so we have all these symptoms that we get from the awakening process. What can we do either during the awakening, whether we're in the awakening process, whether we're kind of, we've passed the level 1 and level 2 and we're kind of, coasting on to the next level. What can we do? And I think that, the first thing we have to realize is how serious the awakening process is. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the light-hearted. It's really something that will take every single ounce of your concentration, cooperation, because the more you resist, the more you'll have, crazy tower moments in your life. So it's very important to respect the process and understand and understand just what an intense process you're going through, because you're literally going through a dying process and a birthing process. Both are never easy, and you're going through them at the same time. So an old you is dying as a new you is emerging. And usually you'd have a break where you check out of this world as the old you, go recalibrate, refresh, think of everything that had happened to you, etc., and then come back in to this world as a new you. But many of us chosen ones who chose ourselves to come from this process, there's so many rewards through going through this process, and anything that has as many rewards as the awakening process has is never easy. So for us who chose to come through this and to get through this, to do this death and resurrection process while you're alive, I mean, it's an incredible rush. It doesn't feel like it at the time. We must respect what is happening, and once we respect it, we'll understand why it's so important to be sensitive to us, to our vibes. And so these are just some of the things that I would recommend that you consider doing for yourself to kind of help you ease, the awakening process symptoms, and kind of just allow the process to happen as seamlessly as possible. The first one I would recommend is getting lots and lots and lots of rest. Yes, it's so important, beloveds, to listen to your body and not to, judge. I remember at the beginning of the awakening process, I was sleeping like 12, 13, 15 hours a day. Even I thought I was going through a depressive cycle, because sometimes I'd literally be in bed all day, all night, and just, just waking up to eat, get fresh air, etc. So it's really important to understand, don't trip out about needing to sleep so much, but give yourself the necessary rest that you need. And yeah, make sure you're getting your beauty sleep. It's so important. It will really help you to recalibrate all the changes, because the changes are happening mentally, and so much is going on at the mental level that sometimes you just need to switch off your mind. And many of us aren't doing the necessary meditation that would ease the pressure from our mind to be able to release a lot of the narratives and the toxic garbage thinking that need to go, so that we can become fully who we were always meant to be. The second thing I would recommend is make sure you're also getting quality sleep. So you're not just getting lots of sleep, but you're also getting quality sleep. And that means make sure you're sleeping in a electronics-free zone. You're not sleeping with your mobile phone under your pillow or by the side of your bed. You're turning off all Wi-Fi, all, cellular devices, etc., even getting them off out of the room. Some people go as far as switching all the sockets off, so that there's just no electronic frequency, so that you can as you're getting rest, you're getting the highest quality rest. And then of course there's things as you proceed you'll need to look into, make sure you're sleeping on the correct surface in the correct manner, so that your body and your spinal cord start to realign. But these are these are the next steps. So the most important thing for me, I feel, is sleep in an electronics free zone, in as clutter free of a place as possible. An empty room would actually be the best. On the floor, on a mat, in an empty room would be the best way to sleep. Thirdly, get a lot of water, because as a the shedding process, our memory is not just kept in our mind. Our memory is kept in our whole body, and so there's a lot that we're releasing emotions, like all the toxins that we're releasing are actually toxic thoughts, that may manifest as toxins in our bodies. So we have to really just flush them out, and remember, the stronger your vessel is, the stronger your mind is, the faster everything will happen for you, and the faster you'll be able to manifest and get through the process. So make sure you're taking a lot of water, and also, just like sleeping, make sure it's the purest water. If you're questioning the water in your area, you can put things like garlic, get a glass, not plastic, but and then you can put things like garlic in there. You can put things like, if you have cloves, especially for women, you can put things like cloves in there, and then just always get that water and boil it, etc., etc. And the garlic and many other things. There's many ways to make water, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. But make sure you're drinking the most pure water as possible, and you can also energize the water with your own vibes. So make sure you're also doing that, which just basically means speaking into water, speaking love, speaking truth, speaking the highest thoughts, asking the water to replenish you and to take you to the highest vibration. And if you think this is crazy, just look into, there's some research that is it a Japanese? Yeah, a Japanese scientist did. It's Emomoto or something like that. I can't remember his name, but he did he did an experiment where he talked bad to glass, like he put glass in a lot of negativity, negative words like rape, death, etc., etc. And then he also put, good ambient vibes, water, happy, labels like happy, joyful, etc., etc., peaceful. And the crystals that the water formed, the ones in, with the negative vibe, had all kinds of shards, like, really super sharp edges, etc., etc. But the ones that had been fed love had develop these magical crystals, kind of like what you see with the snowflakes. So it does work, beloveds. It really does work. And I know if you're on the awakening process, you know it goes deeper than the five senses. So that's definitely something to consider. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Welcome back, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? We're looking at, some of the things that you can do to kind of ease the awakening process, to kind of make sure that you're getting everything you need. Of course, I talked about sleeping, right? Getting really a lot of high quality rest, making sure you're drinking a lot of water, etc., etc. Some of the other things that you should be doing is make sure that you're turning off all the screens, beloveds, and that you're engaging your mind as little as possible, especially in everything that's happening right now, because right now the mind control system has been turned fully on, and they're over censoring. They're doing so much to make sure that the truth is not there. And if you allow yourself to be fed the lies over and over and over again, it will override your own truth. So really just disconnect and keep away from that as much as possible. As I said, beloveds, in previous episodes, the age of trying to convince and argue and debate, that's all done. You have to just know the truth for yourself and keep to that, because now there's such an attack on the truth. And especially if you're going through the awakening process, your truth may not be strong enough to sustain that consistent attack. So you'll just find yourself extremely fatigued. You're not going to turn back, but so make sure that you're really turning off the screens, and things like mainstream media, like the CNNs and the BBCs of this world, you really shouldn't even be feeding on at all. If you've got to get the news, get it from alternative sources, or it's better just read the news articles yourself and read it with a discerning eye. But really get out of the screens, like things like movies, etc., etc., unless you want to watch, see what their agenda is, because they have to share their agenda with us as a melanated, kings and queens of this planet. So unless you want to get the message from the movies and see kind of where they're trying to take their programming, really stay away from those kind of mind control instruments. Protect your mind, beloveds. And I think that's what this list is all about: protecting yourself, nourishing yourself, uplifting yourself, putting yourself first, being selfish for a change, and making sure that you're getting everything you need. Another thing is, it's so important to be getting increasingly more of a nutritious diet, trying to get those fruits in, trying to get those green vegetables in, trying to get some raw foods in, nuts, everything, just whatever, because your body will also start to demand that, and you'll feel the need for that. But really being conscious about what you're eating, beloveds, and raising the vibration of all your food. Babylon taught us to pray over our food, but then you curse your food in Jesus' name, kind of thing, because that's how you end the prayer. But you can always just bless where the hands that have cultivated the food, the land that has given you that food. Give thanks and gratitude for that food, and commune with that food so that it can replenish you and take you to your highest level. That's why you can't really eat meats, because how are you going to thank someone for being, how are you going to thank an animal for being slaughtered to give you what you can get naturally from, the greens of this earth? Like Mama Earth has given that to you. She's totally catered that to you. But yeah, so it's really important to do that. The next thing is, I find that when you really are in the awakening process, it's very hard to be in large crowds, in large settings, because all your senses are kind of upgrading, and so you become hypersensitive, and sometimes you can get an information overload because you're picking up so much. And a lot of us have been empaths since birth and many other things. So for me, I found I really needed to avoid large gatherings. And sometimes it was even just, not even large gatherings of hundreds of people, but even sometimes a gathering of family and friends where it was like 20, 30 people. I literally couldn't do that anymore because it would be such a drain on your energy. Everything, all your energy, beloveds, is being used to you for your death and rebirth process. That's a priority for your mind and your body. So you really don't have that much energy to give people. And when you're awakening, it's like your light has come on, even if it's flickering a little bit. And so all of those who are still in the darkness will come to take energy from you through conversation, just blah, 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 things that aren't even helping your life, etc., through engaging you in different debates and stuff, just to pull some of your light into them so that they can continue to sustain themselves. So I found that I really had to avoid large crowds, like, couldn't do the church thing anymore. I fell away from the church side, religious psychosis, but really couldn't do large family gatherings, weddings, funerals. All those vibes just became way too much. And I'm hypersensitive, and I know a lot of the chosen ones, because you see, to operate in the highest level of power, beloveds, you have to be extremely sensitive to be able to feel that and just operate that. And so that's why a lot of us have come in with that hypersensitivity. Another thing that I find is, spend as much time as you can in nature daily, beloveds. Even if it's 10 minutes, you should be trying to spend at least an hour in nature every single day, because nature is the only, generator that we have right now, whether it's under a tree, whether it's by a river, whether it's in your little garden where you've planted a few things, because every tree, every plant, every flower has life in it and is connected to the, wider grid of nature. So spending time in nature, taking walks, if you have a forest nearby, etc., make sure you do that, because so much is gotten from that. And try not to wear a diaper when you're doing it, if you can avoid it, so that you're just taking in all the prana and good vibes and radiance from the environment around you. So it's really, really important, beloved. Spend time in the sun as well. Our melanin needs that to kind of be re-energized, etc. So try and spend as much time in the sun. Whenever you see the sun peeking out, go out and spend some time and realize that even the sun is a living being, beloveds. Many of our queendoms and kingdoms across the African continent actually worshipped and still worship the sun. And they were able to make their petitions from the sun, and the sun would respond to those, petitions. Some say that's the whole metaphor of the Bible, but those are definitely stories for other days. But spend time in the sun, spend time in nature as much as you can, The next thing that I found really important is is spiritual baths. It's so important, beloveds, to make sure that you're getting your regular spiritual baths, so that, because water is such a powerful, cleanser. It's such a powerful energy. It's the original energy of this planet, and it's the healing and resurrection energy. And so as you're releasing a lot, you see, we only see this physical body, but if we were to see, there's our emotional body. They're like bodies, auras, and there's layers of our body, beloveds. This is just the thickest part of it. And so when you sit in a bath and you put intentions into that bath, I did a show on spiritual baths back in the day where you can actually energize and charge that bath and even instruct the end, because it's alive, beloveds. Water is alive. You can instruct that water to heal you, to remove certain toxins from you, to remove certain emotional blocks, and it will happen, beloveds. It all depends on how much faith you have in your own self. But these are the things that that really help you to heal. And lastly, I think this is number 10, is doing a lot of research, beloveds. Whenever you're feeling a bit off, instead of panicking and going to what the society or mainstream media is saying, do your own research, look into why you're experiencing this or that, why you're feeling so fatigued, why your diet is changing, and link it to awakening, and you'll find so much information on there. Also, as you start the awakening, your spirit guide, your spirit team is really trying to communicate with you, and they will lead you naturally to the right videos, information that you need. That's why you shouldn't walk onto these YouTube streets just like that. Always walk in with the intention that whatever you receive will be for your highest and greatest good and will move you forward. Let me know what other recommendations you would make for people. These are just the 10 that came to mind instantly. I pray that they are uplifting for your life, and they add value and joy and peace to your experience. Tuko pamoja.